So here's a few things that come up a lot, some FAQs I wanted to talk about. I mentioned earlier that it's going to be 3 years worth of 3 years worth of reports that SAC-COC will be looking at. So maybe you'll learn that you're missing a formal report. And I talk about this being a formal report because, well, remember, you've already done the work. You've already evaluated student learning and you have the data. It's probably sitting in Canvas or Sakai, Gradescope. It's somewhere already out there because you've already done the evaluation of student work. A lot of this is really involving pulling that data together and then I'm describing it in these assessment reports that you may have to go back and recreate from previous years. If you do holistic evaluation of student learning, go into some detail with this. For example, if you have students do performances and a group of faculty come to a consensus about the quality of performance, something like that, or maybe you have some sort of expert review process that you use to evaluate student work. That's okay. You don't necessarily have to be using rubrics for everything, but really unpack this, really go into some detail because you're trying to illustrate to an outsider how you went about this process. If you have a new program, all you really need is a plan by the time you admit your first students. There's no need to report anything until you have graduated your first cohort. So the plan is what you would need going into that new program. But until you graduate people, you don't need to start writing the report. Another item too that comes up a lot of these performance targets because it can be tempting to sort of find something external to the institution to establish these. But you can also talk in terms of improving on previous years. We saw an example of that earlier. In fact, it doesn't even have to be called a target. It could be a baseline or a threshold or whatever is more appropriate for your discipline. But as you establish these thresholds or these targets or whatever, think about what makes most sense for you and how you do things within your program.